Sean,
Dan?
do you know what the name of the game is? Do you know who I want to play it with?
Worried now.
Life is the name of the game.
Oh.
And I want to play the game with you.
Oh.
Right after this episode of Is It? I thought we were going to harmonise that one.
Yeah, I thought that too. Well tried.
Well, Okay, welcome, ladies and genitals, to this episode of Is It Shit? And we're looking at a rather sexy-looking plug-in today.
We are, yes. Today, Dan, we are looking at something new from UAD, which has now become native. It's the UAD Ampex ATR102, which is a tape emulator.
We haven't done a tape emulator for some time.
Been a little while, yeah.
What does this emulate?
Tape.
Ah.
Yeah. Let's just crack on with it because it's like all tape emulators, it does what they all do. It emulates the sound of tape. So, as you can see, at the top you have your meter, you have left and right.
Question.
You got a question, go on.
Do the things move?
Do the reels go round? The reels go round, yes. So on this one where it says record and reproduce, you can think of that as input and output. Yeah. That's basically what they are. Yeah. You can look at the meter, set it between input and output. Auto gain just matches input and output so that you can hear what it's doing. But with a lot of tape emulators or anything that's emulating something analog, to have the ability to drive more in is what will give it more of a sound. Hitting tape hard was always a thing we used to do because that's where you get natural tape compression.
A bit like ass.
Hitting ass hard.
Yeah, the more you drive it in, the better.
Dear oh dear. Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably similar to that. Yeah. Anyway, so there's your input.
Just being bawdy, Sean. Just being bawdy.
I know you are. Let's go over to the right here, this little section. So, as you can see, this bit on the left where it says 250, 456, 900, GP9, they are all famous types of tape. So you've got your Ampex tapes, like your 456. I think I recorded thousands of things on Ampex 456. And then...
Grey box.
Grey box, well, sort of grey silvery box on it with your black and blue white logo on the front. And then it changed to 499.
1-inch 24 track.
Yeah, well, 2-inch. 2-inch 24 track in my day. GP9 was obviously...
Well, the studios I worked in weren't as posh as yours.
No, they weren't.
We had those upright machines, not the nice Studer.
Yeah. No, we didn't have Studer. We had Atari MTR-90s. They were the popular thing right before the Mitsubishi digital tape came in, which I didn't like. But anyway, so there's your different tapes. You can flick between them. They all have a slightly different sound. In the column next to that, that's your calibration. Again, gives you a slightly different sound. And then on the right is your tape width, like we were just discussing, 1-inch, half-inch, quarter-inch. And by clicking these buttons below, that's where you flip between them. So it's changing the tape head from a 1-inch to a half-inch to a quarter-inch, and they will give you different sounds. The reason there's no 2-inch is 2-inch was for multi-track. It was never for hitting to a master. So 1-inch is always going to be your best quality. Half-inch, slightly less. Quarter-inch, slightly less. But quite often, if you're using one of these in the first place, that's what you want. You want to be able to hear it doing something. Okay, let's flip over to the left. Let's forget open and close for a minute. The next one down, you've got link and unlink. That is left and right. Emphasis EQ. In the days of recording to tape, emphasis was pushing a slightly different EQ curve to tape in order to make up for its shortcomings. So quite often you would put more high end in because you were going to lose it. So there's two different emphasis EQ curves. There's the CCIR and the NAB. One was American, one was not. I can't remember what the other one was. Anyway, so that's that. In the middle here, you have got your tape speeds. So 30 inches per second generally was the most professional. That was the fastest the tape could pass over the tape head. So it had the least amount of noise, basically. 15, bit more standard, I suppose. 7.5. I don't think I ever used 7.5 once I got away from 7.5 inch reels, because that's just too slow. And 3.75, you're going to get really obvious tape sounds at that speed. Right, and finally, let's come to open and close. When you press open, a panel opens.
Yes.
and this is the panel. And it's
Oh, wow.
basically all those extra little functions that make it more tapey. So you've got your left and right shelf EQ, and your bias. Bias was basically, I think it was a tone that was recorded with the signal in order to get it to sound right on playback, something like that. But again, when you mess around with a bias, you get a slightly different sound. You can add hum and hiss, wow and flutter. So flutter was literally what it sounds like. It was like a very quick sort of modulation sort of sound you used to get with a tape if it wasn't quite set up right. Sometimes if the motors were running wrong with the tensioners. And wow was literally it sounded
That's
like,
when it sounded really good.
no, it didn't.
Oh, sorry.
And crosstalk down the bottom here. Crosstalk is a thing where some of the left would be coming out of the right, some of the right would be coming out of the left, because that's just how tape is sometimes. As it goes over the head, it waves a little bit. I had an interesting conversation once actually about crosstalk with an editor of a magazine I was writing for, because I was reviewing Behringer's first ever digital mixer about 25 years ago. And I sent him my review, and I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. And he phoned me up and he said, I've heard some really bad things about it. Apparently there's really bad crosstalk. And I'm like, how can there be crosstalk on a digital mixer? That's just impossible.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I realised that there's an agenda sometimes.
Yes.
People want to dislike things because of their brand name. And I'm like, that's literally not true.
Behringer are a full victim to that fairly regularly, don't
All
they?
the time. Anyway, moving on. So you've got things like noise on, off, auto calibration, transformer on, off. So they've modelled the transformer from one of these actual pieces of hardware. It's an actual thing, the ATR102. So they've modelled the sound of the transformer. You can turn off the things like wow and flutter and crosstalk. Distortion amounts. I mean, I don't want any really, but you can have it if you want. And you can have tones in order to, I mean, in my first job when I worked in the studio years and years ago as a tape op, was I'd have a tape with a load of tones on it. You'd press play and you'd set it up for a particular tone, like 1K tone. You'd have to look at all the needles on every 24 and get them all set to 0. And you had this weird little tool, and that's called aligning your tape machine. And then finally, over here on the right, there's a tape delay section. They've basically added this little section that lets you use it to do
cool.
analog tape
Delays,
delay. Yeah, which is a nice little
Touch.
function to add. Yeah. So there you go. I think that is it.
It's a pretty sexy thing. Where does it come from? UAD, did you say?
UAD, yeah.
So 14 days.
14-day demo, yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Worth a try. And if we like,
brace yourself.
no.
£349.
God,
It's pricey, isn't it?
a little.
A little pricey. In the sale right now, 89.
You see, that's a bit more like it.
It's a bit more like it.
How tapey does it sound?
I've had some interesting conversations in the last 24 hours with a few people online saying that certain tape emulators we've reviewed in the past sound nothing like tape. I would argue that they do sound a lot like tape. And I get it that they might not sound like the specific model you've got or you had.
Yeah.
But I haven't come across many tape emulators that don't sound like tape.
Okay.
I've got a hardware tape emulator that does the transformer bit.
Yep.
It doesn't emulate the tape sound other than the tape compression and the transformer sound. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Did you thought you'd press stop?
I did. I nudged the space bar there.
Uh-oh. So they're all different. There's lots of different ones. There's some I like more than others. This one, very obviously, I think, sounds a lot like tape.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly like it when you drive into it. When you push too much into it, it does that exact thing that tape does. It starts to compress in a really nice way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say if you want a tape emulator, try out a bunch. But this is nice. I think probably where this excels is right at the other end. If you want something that reacts like tape but not so obvious that you can very, very easily hear it, if you set this to like the highest possible quality and then just drive it a bit, I think that sounds like you're recording on a really expensive studio 30 years ago.
We have to. We do have to say, like, every time we do when we review a tape emulator, that we spent years trying to get away from tape.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
We literally did everything we could, and when DAT first arrived, everyone was like, "Yay, digital! We can record to digital."
Yeah.
And then when DATs became a pain in the arse with we can record to hard disk, brilliant, no more noise, no more. And now everyone's like, I want the noise back, and I want the saturation back, and I want all those issues that we wanted to get away from. I want them all back.
Yeah.
But I guess we want them in a way we can control them.
Yeah.
And use them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, 89 was probably, especially if you get a 14-day demo, if it sounds amazing, it's great. I can see this being, so this is a sort of bus thing, isn't it? You wouldn't have this, would you have this on each channel?
No, I'd stick one of these on my master.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this could be part of your sort of master bus as your tape satch.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't think I'd ever use it in mastering, because I think if someone wants the sound of tape, they do that at the mix stage. That's not my job.
But that's what I mean. You'd have it on your master bus when you were
I think mixing, on your stereo bus while you're mixing, if you want to get that tape sound, this will cover it.
A little bit of satch.
Yeah,
very nice. Very nice. Okay, so the UAD Ampex ATR102, Sean, is it shit?
No, it's not shit. I think the 349 is a bit insane.
A little expensive.
89, I think, is all right. Just keep an eye on it. It's in the sale now. It'll be in the sale again, I'm sure.
How many reels of tape would you got for 350 quid back in the day?
Ooh, so the last time I bought tape would have been in the 90s, and I remember 2-inch tape was 90 quid, and that there was 20 minutes on a 2-inch. I think a reel of 1-inch tape was probably in the region of sort of 35-40 quid, and you'd have got, I mean, you could have got probably,
depending on the
5 or 6 stereo masters on it, but no one ever did.
No, depending on the IPS.
Yeah, you'd do 1 or 2. You'd do a couple of alternative mixes, and then you'd get another tape.
I can remember recording on tape. I probably tell this story every time we do a tape review, but I remember recording onto tape and recording a band and doing take after take after take of this one particular track. We finally did a take that they were happy on. It was like a live rhythm section: keys, bass, guitar, drums. Guide vocal, and we spent the day like going round and round and round. And they were doing the stuff where they jam, and then you drop them in. So they're on the groove and stuff. We got this amazing take in the end, and I got the minutes wrong on my tape sheet. And in starting the next track, took the last minute off the end of their off all 24 channels.
We've all done it, mate.
Yeah,
we've all done it. Well, I did it with the Newtown Centres, a band I'm mixing at the moment. Yeah, we had this track. I think I've told this story before as well. We had a track. We just finished we've pretty much done the mix. And the only problem is that at the beginning, the drummer had a stick counting 1, 2, 3, 4 on the sticks, and there was quite a lot of amp noise. And those days, there was no hard disk editing. There was if it was there, it was there. We might have been able to do a little
edit,
a razor blade edit on the master, but I had the bright idea, I thought at the time, in that we'll put all the tracks into ARM on the tape machine, and then I'll manually move the reels just to get rid of the 1, 2, 3, 4 counting. And what I forgot is that there's a gap of about 4 inches between the record head and the play head. So what you're hearing is not exactly lined up with what he's recording. So I managed to erase the first beat of the song. Yeah,
and it's one of those things where you sort of, you close your eyes and you think, if I pretend
like
that
a rewind
hasn't happened,
time.
Yeah.
Or,
surely I haven't just done that.
And the whole band was sat behind me on the sofa, and they went, "Has it worked?" And I realised before I said anything, I just realised what I'd done, and I went, no, and we're going to have to record it all again from scratch. And we'd literally spent a whole day recording it, another day mixing it.
That's the point where you go, fucking tape machines. You wouldn't believe what this has just done.
I think they were all equally nervous when I started doing the process, because I explained it first.
Yeah.
And I think not one of them thought it was going to work. And obviously I got called a whole lot of names at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And ever since.
Ever since, pretty much. Yeah.
Anyway,
true enough.
Please, we've done the Is It Shit, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah. Okay, so please like the video.
Do that and subscribe to the channel. Maybe become a channel member.
Yeah, where you get 1 free master from Sean's mastering company.
You do, if you're at a high level of the membership, you get that. There's a bunch of links below. There's the Instagram, there's the Patreon, there's the merch store, and there's also a link to my course, which is 40 quid, which is like 10 times cheaper than some courses. 5 videos over 3 hours long, see an entire mix. You get all the audio stems, and they're really nice audio stems. Go and do a mix of your own, copy my settings, or do whatever you want to do. But I think in the space of 3 hours, you will have a very good idea. You can go back again and again and watch it and pick up loads of cool tips.
Excellent stuff. It is very cool. I've seen it myself. Until next time, suckers, sayonara.
Adios.